Peter, one thing I wanted to bring to the table today is that I read a really interesting article on the Independent from a guy called Patrick Donnelly,
Right.
who lives and works in Death Valley.
Oh, that's hot, isn't it?
Yeah, so he's I think he's like a scientist. He's like he's not a lizard,
Big lizard.
He's like a scientist of some description where he has to go out and do bits and pieces. Maybe some kind of curator for the visitor centre or something there.
Okay. Yeah.
But the article talks about a week of it in his life in the summer and how like amazing it is. And there's a couple of things that really piqued my interest. One is that he said like you've got to get into adjustment. You've got an adjustment to get into a mind frame where it's like it's not like a bad day or a low level bad decision to go out during the day in the summer in Death Valley. It's basically death.
Right.
So
yeah,
you have to adjust your expectations. Like, I might get a bit hot. To
that's not for me.
Yeah.
Does it get very cold at night? Like ridiculously cold?
I think it does in the winter overnight. I think it goes below freezing.
Yeah.
But during the day, like so, for example, on the day he's written this article, it's 26 degrees at sunrise. So that's for our American listeners. That's what, like 80, and then the lowest temperature it will get in the height of the day is 46 degrees Celsius, which is basically, I think that must be, right up there. Let me just check what that is in Fahrenheit. 115 Fahrenheit.
But do you not think that's really weird that our body temperatures, what's that, 38?
Our body temperatures are around 38, yeah.
Yeah. So, that's only 6
I don't
degrees.
think it works like that, mate.
It's only 6 degrees. So, like, why does your body have so much... Because
Is this about you about to say people don't need water again?
We've got a shower that you've got to turn down the heat because of a misfiring temperature monitor. I think in one of the showers upstairs. Not my doing. I can't be handling plumbing. Plumbing is just hard. You need to have all the tools, and I don't have all the tools.
You get wet.
But upstairs there's a shower where because there's an issue with the cold and the hot water. We can only have hot water coming through. So you got to go on the boiler, turn it down to whatever degrees that you want that you shower at in one of the bathrooms. But so I can have it about cracking on for 50. Sarah wants it about 41, 40. And I'm like, that's only 2 degrees over your body's ambient temperature deep inside. So what are you getting out of that? Do you not feel? I just would feel unclean having a shower that's
cooler shower.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's because I've got quite sensitive skin, and my skin burns really easily in the sun and stuff.
I'm boiling myself like a big frog. Big frog in a French restaurant. I'm just boiling myself.
If every day you turn the temperature of your shower up by 0.1 of a degree, by the time you got to your age now, you might be like superhuman.
What do you mean? Like I could withstand like boiling water and stuff?
Yeah, you could like jump into volcanoes and fix them.
Why don't they just pour cement in them?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Anyway, this guy was saying that like his work requires him to be outdoors in the middle of the day, which basically no one does. Apparently, a lot of people there generally wake up at like 3 a.m., do their thing between like 4 a.m. and 8 a.m.
Right.
And then the rest of the time they're indoors. But he basically goes out in the middle of the day because he has to do for work, and he says the non-negotiable part of it is that you have to have zero skin exposed to the sun. So you have to wear long trousers, long sleeve hooded shirt, a big hat, and you basically have to take. He says you have to take on board 3 gallons of water a day, which is crazy. That's like 12 liters or something a day.
It doesn't seem comfortable. What business does he have out there? Is he studying lizards? What's he doing out there?
I can't quite remember what his job is. I think it's some kind of science-based job. Here you go. He works for the Centre for Biological Diversity.
Right, okay.
And it's in the national park part of Death Valley, which is between California and Nevada. There's about 250 people there, and it's in the northern Mojave Desert. But he also said, one of the things I didn't really consider, was 2 points I really want to make, one of which I found really interesting and one I think you'll find interesting, is he said that like the one thing people really underestimate is the amount of preparation it takes every day to just do
to not
stuff.
Die.
Yeah, to not die,
To
basically.
not die, yeah.
He says, for example, he has to check his car every day.
Yeah.
Because if he drives out to the middle of nowhere.
Because if you get lost, if you get caught out and your car dies, I mean, Jesus.
He says in most places, if your cooling system breaks down, you will have an uncomfortable couple of days driving to work. If my cooling system breaks down, I will die.
He must have like a generator in the back for a big fan or something. I don't know.
Well, this is the thing. This is what I was going to get onto. So you might be interested in this because I'd never heard of this before, right? He said most people there use something called an evaporative cooler, which is also known as a swamp cooler.
Right.
Which only really works in a desert. He said if you just used a standard communal garden aircon system, it would use so much energy it would cost you $700 a month just for a unit.
Right, okay.
Right? And these swamp coolers save 90% on energy bills.
Is that like you see on the continent sometimes you have like a refrigerating unit in front of a fan?
Yeah, so he's basically said the way he describes it is you pump wet air through the house at high velocity.
Right, yeah.
And that wet air meets the dry air from outside, and there's an evaporative cooling effect. So it's basically just a scientific way of doing it. I guess like what kind of normal air cons will just take hot air out of the room and convert it into cold air and pump it back in, and there's an outlet, right?
I think they pull air out and then divert some of the air across a refrigeration unit. I think maybe. Probably not true, but remember when I turned on the aircon here in the studio and I didn't realise that because I'd piped it all in, I didn't realise that the studio is completely airtight and the wall started bulging.
Sucking it all in. The studio ended up being the size of a sugar cube.
Yeah, is it Violet Beauregard who went big? I can't remember.
Augustus Gloop one. Oh no, Violet Beauregard. Yeah, it was.